Hi YouTube, Mr. T's Boss here. In this video I want to talk about the LG G4. So you may already know the LG G3 was a sellout success. I think in its home market in South Korea, it's outselling the Galaxy S5 3-1. Now bear in mind that it has just been released and the S5 has been out for a while, but nonetheless that's still pretty impressive considering, the Galaxy S5 is sort of the flagship of all flagships. I think there's more hype about Samsung's phones than just about any other manufacturer, so LG's done pretty well here. And I think there's a couple of things that have really made that happen. Now number one is the display. Now a lot of people have been complaining about this, and honestly I'm not a massive fan, but LG put a QHD display on the LG G3 and that was kind of a very brave move, probably quite a costly move, but at the same time I think it was very good for marketing. If they had just gone with a 1080p panel, there would have been literally nothing to separate the LG G3 from the competition. Now they also decided to adopt a metal body, which is seen before, on the HTC One ME and other phones like that, but I think, the whole package comes together quite nicely. It's got a 5.5-inch screen, it's got an amazing display, and it's got a nice build quality, so it all comes together to make a very, very premium package that hasn't really been seen on many other devices. So I think that, yeah, it's catering to almost kind of like a niche audience, the people who want really, really large devices, but it's worked. Whatever they're doing, it's working, so I say they stick with it. Now onto the LG G4, it's, I know it's kind of a while in advance, but I mean there's a couple of things I would actually recommend LG do in order to really wow people next year, because it's getting tougher and tougher, as you know, the costs of components is increasing and people's expectations keep rising exponentially each year, so it's going to be difficult, especially in the future, for manufacturers to continue to actually surprise people, because I think we're going to be seeing more and more software innovations rather than hardware innovations. And yeah, I think that consumer expectation is just way too high, but if LG does these things, then we are in for a treat. So the first thing that I really think the LG G4 should have is not a large display, because I think that 5.5 is really pushing it, and what tends to happen is manufacturers every year when they release a new device, they will incrementally increase the display size, and it's going to be verging very much on tablet territory, and I think that 5.5 is the absolute limit for sort of a mainstream market phone. I mean, clearly there will be niche products which are like 6 inches, like the Galaxy Mega, that kind of thing, but in order to actually keep it into mainstream markets, LG really needs to keep the screen size at a reasonable level, and 5.5 really is kind of big. So number two, LG really need to put some powerful internals in there, so I mean, something like the Snapdragon 808 or the Snapdragon 810. Now, looking at LG's previous releases, a lot of their devices were released sort of towards the middle of the year, so sometimes summer, and by that time those chips should well be in action, and if they can get a Snapdragon 810 in there, amazing. I think it's like an octa-core chip, it'll blow away the competition, and I think if they get in there before sort of Samsung and HTC, who tend to release earlier on in the year, and they might have 805s or 808s, and LG will have a real step up. Also, 3GB of RAM I think is a necessity. I think that in this day and age, manufacturers are actually sticking to 2GB of RAM because they see no real benefit from increasing it, but I can tell from previous experience that phones that have actually had 2GB of RAM in have been filling up very, very quickly. As Android becomes more sophisticated and the apps become more demanding, I think that more RAM is pretty much necessary. Okay, so the next thing that LG really need to do is speakers. I mean, I can't stress enough how much I love the HTC One M8 for its speakers, because honestly, apart from that, there's nothing that really attaches me to the phone, but the speakers are the only reason I'm continuing with this phone. I would much rather have something a little bit bigger, I'd much rather have something with a better camera, but I've stuck with it just because I love listening to music, and it's such an important thing for so many people. I don't understand why manufacturers don't get this. I think that upgrading the speakers won't cost them more than sort of £15–20. I've heard some really, really top quality £15–20 Bluetooth speakers, and so, if they can just cram that extra bit in, make something really special, then I think loads of people will switch over. So the next thing is a little bit different. I actually think that LG would really benefit from thinking outside the box a little and coming up with a really unique accessory. So we've seen this with countless devices before, like the Samsung, they had their unique smartwatch, which is sort of tailored to work with the Galaxy Note 3 device. We also had HTC with their dot view case, which was pretty cool. I mean, not gonna lie, I bet it actually probably sold quite a few devices just having the ability to attach such a cool accessory. It's another feature and selling point of the device, even though it's not like a sort of function that inherently is built into it, as long as it's exclusive. Okay, and the last thing that I want to say is a bendy display. Like, not literally, you know, a display where you can just sort of go like this and bend it. That's not really what I'm after, but, you know, I've been saying this countless times, and I just want just one manufacturer to do this. So basically you have a display, and then the display will be flat and then curved a little bit. It's something like what Samsung demonstrated with their Youm display technology. So they had like a demo phone where, you know, for example, you've got a case on the front protecting the front and you've got protecting the back, but there's just a little strip on the side of the phone where you can instantly view notifications, you can take calls, and you can see what's going on during the day without even taking your case off. That's pretty cool, and it's actually useful. It's not one of those gimmicky features which is just there because it's there, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it from me, guys. If you've got anything that you really think should be on the LG G4, then just stick it in the comments below. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys think, because honestly I'm really excited for this phone. You know, LG is clearly determined. They've got incredible aspirations and they really do want to take over this market, and they've got the resources to do that, so, you know, so yeah. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.